Stop at 9 though.
No, that's fine. We're not going that long. All right, everyone. I'm here with my very special guest, Jaymie Jams Knox, aka Madam CEO. I don't have the effects. I don't have the
I
effects
know.
in this platform, but next time. So how you doing, Jaymie? As if I didn't see you just 2 days ago.
I know, right? Like I didn't just leave you yesterday. No, I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. So it's the start of a new week and I am already getting hit with the stuff. So we'll see.
Right. My hotline has been blinging. My email hotline has been blinging since like yesterday from work, and I'm like, dude, it's Sunday,
Yeah.
day of rest.
They don't know what that means. They don't know what that means at all.
Not at all. Not at all. All right. So, this month is National Women in Small Business Month. And, it's really important, I think, to highlight that because I feel like women, I'm not saying that individuals who start small businesses, don't encounter issues, but I feel like Black women in particularly in the small business space, there are a lot of challenges that we face that might be unique to us.
Mm-hmm.
Think that we've seen statistics that show that Black women are creating businesses at an exponential number, but at the end of the day, statistics also show that although we're creating a lot of businesses, we're surpassing our counterparts in that realm. That whole like successful business idea, like that's where we in a sense like kind of lack, where it's like how many successful businesses are bred through this boom of Black women starting businesses. And I know that some of the challenges when I've talked to other women have been just funding, staffing, just resources in general. So I thought it would be cool for you and I to engage in that conversation as Black women in small business in this realm of media. I think that it's much more difficult than most people think. I think people are like, oh, you're in media, you're making money. I mean, yesterday I was literally having this conversation with one of my not former friends, but a friend from my youth, where he's just like, you make so much money. I mean, you push out so much content. I cannot believe that you're not making mad money off of this. And I had that same comment made to me several months ago at like, I was at a baby shower. And I had like 2 or 3 of my friends again. I don't see them very often, but they're from, my local church. And they're like, we see your stuff all over the place. There's no way. And they were like, no, we're not accepting it. You're making money. You're just being modest. And I'm just like, if I could show you my bank accounts,
I promise you, boo boo.
I'm like, if you, start clapping, if you,
I promise you, boo boo.
my bank account, it would tell another story. It would tell a sad story. So just kind of just talking about our struggles. And I know that, you have built this platform, WJMS Radio, now media. It's been several years. Still, we're all both still waiting for that break, but just kind of going through your journey a bit with building WJMS Media, formerly radio, and what some of your challenges were, especially in this space as a small business owner in media. So you have the floor, Jams.
All right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this right here. Boom. All right. So, I mean, oof. So long story short, I started WJMS Radio in December of 2015, and we were going strong for 6 years. I did get my diagnosis in December of 2018, and I started doing a lot of advocacy work and a lot of just in the community type stuff, events and speaking arrangements or just appearances and things like that. And I really started to realize that radio wasn't enough to capture everything that I was doing in terms of advocacy and all that. And so I really wanted to find a way to capitalize and to bring all of the content that I was putting out to audiences in a way that made sense. Mm-hmm. And I also wanted to, have the type of company that can change with the times and not be stagnant. So I started to feel like, WJMS needed a little bit of a change. And so I ended up switching us to WJMS Media so that we could, in fact, merge with the times, because if you looked at, 10, 15 years ago, podcasting wasn't really a thing. There wasn't a lot of people that had podcasts. If you did have a podcast, people were like, oh, okay. Like it wasn't really something that, people really, I don't want to say respected, but people really, gave a lot of credit to. Nowadays, everybody and their mother has a podcast. Like if you don't have a podcast, it's strange at this point. It's like a bachelor's degree. And so I ended up just deciding that I wanted to, transition WJMS into something where if new types of platforms and technologies arise, we can pivot and take advantage of those without having to restructure and rebrand and do everything all over again. And so that's kind of why I made the change. But I have run into so many obstacles doing that and sort of making that happen, from just being able to get followers and engagement. One of the main things that we've struggled with is getting organic actual followers and listeners and stuff like that. I'm not somebody who ever wanted to buy followers. You see the folks on social media who have tens of thousands of followers and they post something and get like 32 likes and you're like, wait a minute, that math ain't mathin'.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? So I never wanted to be somebody who bought followers or bought engagement or anything like that. And so I really just wanted to keep it organic and really have people that are going to engage with our content and engage with our posts and things like that and truly be interested in what we're doing. And so it's been a long road, getting the followers that we have and getting the engagement and stuff that we do have, because it's something that I've been trying to build from the bottom up. Without trying to take any help or handouts and things like that. And so that's kind of one of the main things that I struggle with as a small business owner. One of the main and biggest ones.
Right. Yeah. That follower issue is a real issue, because it's kind of like a catch-22 in a sense. Like you said, you don't want to buy followers. I don't want to buy followers, which is why our numbers are not necessarily increasing at the rate that people would expect for the amount of years we've been, an online presence.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the organic followers, I think that's really at some point where it's at. But it's kind of like you have to create, I guess, some sort of viral moment, right, in order for you to get those followers. I remember I was talking to one of my friends who she's a small business owner and she has like a vegan, immunity boost shot business or whatever. I think they created a reel, because, reels apparently is what's pushing everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
She created a reel and that reel went viral. So she went from having like, I don't know, maybe 50 followers to 25K, like within a matter of like maybe like a few days, really. So, that's how she was able to get those followers off of that system, as opposed to, paying somebody to buy the followers. I think in our craft, that organic follower situation is a real thing, because we're wanting to engage with the people who actually like our stuff. It's one thing to show that you have 20,000 followers, but only 2 people are liking your content. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I think that for that piece, I think for me too, the followers in the beginning, I wasn't so, pressed about it. I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to have this Instagram, whoever follows me, follows me. But as, we're doing more, it's like, no, followers are important in the sense that if I am wanting to, get sponsorships, things of that nature, which would solve my other biggest issue, which is funding, lack of funding, no dollars, right? So if the idea is that you need to have X amount of followers for me to even as a sponsor to take you seriously, but it's like, but I don't have those followers because I don't want to buy those followers. I want to grow those followers, but then it kind of,
it's a catch-22.
It becomes difficult, because I think in this industry, especially the biggest way or the best way to make money is through these ads, through these sponsorships. That's really the biggest source of like the funding, in a sense, unless you get a grant or somebody believes in us so much where they're like, hey, we'll back you, or whatever the case is. But to be sustainable, you need that constant like ads and sponsorships. And it becomes difficult to maintain, which I think is why a lot of companies like ours end up just becoming hobby companies over a while, or they just wrap it up and say, you know what, forget it. So
yeah. And it's a complicated thing too, because we don't necessarily have tangible products. You know what I mean? So it's not like we can get our products in the hands of one person who may have a huge following and they're going to say, hey, try out this lip gloss, or try out this particular food thing, or whatever it may be, and then boom, it takes off, because it doesn't work that way. Our goods are intangible. Our goods are the audiences that we curate and the audiences that we've put together and stuff like that. So a lot of times the sponsorship and the advertising doesn't necessarily come from the specific product. It comes from our ability to put those advertisers in front of people who have already demonstrated interest in the types of things that they're selling. Like, you're paying to have access to essentially our email list. If you think about it, in layman's terms, you're paying to have access to who we know. And so that's kind of why the organic followers are important, because like, I don't want 20,000 bots, who are not going to do anything with the product that I'm trying to sell to people. I want 20,000 people who have demonstrated interest in business, finance, fashion, media, stuff like that, because I know that when I put a sponsor in front of them or an advertiser in front of them, something is going to stick and they're going to get a return on their investment for advertising with us. And that's kind of what we want. And that's why we push for, why it's such a big deal to have the organic followers and have real people following you and not bots.
Right. Because we want that engagement. We're media, we're posing questions all the time. We're raising awareness on things, and we want to see like how people are engaging with us. We want our platforms to almost be community forums in a sense, right? On the topics and on the things that we speak of. So I know, when we were talking offline, we talked about some other challenges with respect to just that whole startup phase. I feel like we're always kind of maybe starting up, like, even though we've been in this game for several years, it's still in that startup phase because, again, the lack of capital, the lack of resources, and also, just the lack of like bodies. So I guess that might fall into resources, but staffing in a sense. We're both essentially one woman shows when it comes to our platform and making sure that things are curated, for our audience, making sure that the content, is what it is, booking our own guests, making sure, being the IT person behind, behind the scenes. So it makes it a little difficult sometimes for us who are the creators to continue creating and to continue building in a way when we also have to be admin. But I feel like one of my pet peeves in this industry is more so that there's so many, creators, creatives, there's so many individuals who understand marketing, who understand social media. And I am a big proponent of sweat equity. Yes, I am a big proponent of sweat equity. And when I say that, sometimes in certain groups, people are always thinking, oh, is she just looking for something for free? And it's not that I'm looking for something for free, because I mentioned the word equity, which means there's going to be a stake in something. And so I've noticed, like, with other groups, when we talk about, whether it's the Latin community or the Hispanic, or the Jewish community, like, people always refer to these other communities and how, they collaborate together, and how sweat equity is a thing where you'll find 5 people working in this bodega to make sure that this bodega meets its markers, right? And once it meets its markers, it's like, okay, number 2, you said you wanted a bodega, or you said you wanted to run this shop. Now, whatever interest we got here, we're going to push it over there. Like, there's this collaboration that takes place. Or if you want to be a part owner in this bodega, like, now's your opportunity, because you demonstrated your worth in a sense. You provided essential, critical resources, tools for this bodega to be what it is. So now, now you get to reap some of the benefits. And I think it's the same when we're talking about these media companies, where a lot of times we have so many creators in one space. Everybody needs access to a videographer. Everybody needs access to a photographer, to just a space to record even. Maybe, I am not great with marketing, which I always say that I am not. Maybe you are great with marketing, and it's like, okay, let's market according to RP. Let's have a sit down. Since this is your craft, you could do it in your sleep. Let's work together. So now when there's revenue coming into according to RP, your sweat equity then turns into, okay, maybe it's an ownership stake, maybe it's a revenue share. Like, I find that a lot of times and I see it more so, I think, within creatives nowadays. It's that, everybody wants to like own their content. They want to be the only name. They don't want to share bylines. And I think that sometimes impedes this collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, if we all were to just really come together and like, in a sense, barter almost our skills with each other, we would get much further, I think. And I think that a lot of times people just look at the short term. They're just like, well, right now you're not giving me any money for my craft. But it's like, dude, you're not even being fully booked either. So let's work together and see how we can both get this money. But I think people are very short-sighted in this game. And that's why we have so many stories of, oh, it took me 20 years to get to this one moment, and it's like it could have took you 5 if everybody was doing what they needed to do. I don't know. That's my rant. That's my pet peeve. That's my thing. I don't know if you've experienced the same.
No, I mean, I absolutely have. Again, one woman show. I've been a one woman show from the beginning. I have folks that work closely with me, of course, yourself included, and other folks on the team, as well as a team of interns and stuff who, in my opinion, get a whole lot of hands-on experience because they're literally getting the actual experience of doing whatever it is that they're interning for. But I've always been a one woman sort of show, and I've toyed around. It's not necessarily with sweat equity, but with like other small businesses who are looking for certain things, like you need a media company or you need a radio station at your event to broadcast. And it's like, okay, well, I'll come and broadcast in exchange for the exposure to your audience. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. So I've done those kinds of things, but I've never taken it a step further, like you just said, and turned it into equity and turned it into shares and ownership and stuff like that. And that could very much be the game changer and what we need. So my mind is running right now.
I mean, because we've been doing it so long, and we've been doing it in a particular way that it's not to say that it hasn't been working, but it hasn't been working when we're talking about the monetary piece, right? Because our content, at the end of the day, especially in this world where everybody's a content creator, everybody's a content creator. Like you said, everybody and their mother and their dog and cat have podcasts. And so it's very competitive, and so we have to be able to stand out. But it's like how do you stand out with no capital, right? It makes it a little difficult. And so we've been doing these creative things to assist us in getting in front of other audiences, expanding our brand, but it's still keeping us at a level that it's like, okay, it's time to get to that next level. It's time to be, a household name, if you want to say that, So I don't know. Those are I find like those are the biggest challenges within our industry. And the hope is that even though like there's so much noise out there because there's so much content, that at some point, we'll be able to get what we need to get to really, I guess, amplify the work that we're doing. Because I think we're doing amazing work. We're raising real awareness, but we're also having fun with it. We're not just, this is not CNN. We have fun. We have jokes. Like our content, I think is superior content. I just think that we also are up against the ratchet community. Yes. And the ratchet community, we can post something about lung cancer awareness, health, heart disease in the Black community, things that really matter. We'll get one like, you want to talk about who's sleeping with who brings the table, who is the table.
Cardi B's beefing with this person.
Right. Millions of likes. And the thing with us though, like, on According to RP, we could bring up a Cardi B situation, but we still find a way to bring it home where, okay, this is what you guys are talking about. This is what's happening, but let's peel the onion back a little bit. Let's get to kind of the bottom of some of these issues that, plays out with respect to, what Cardi B and Nicki may actually be beefing about. So we still find a way to incorporate that hip hop culture and that mainstream and the gossip talk into our conversations, but yet still bringing a valid point and an important point home. But I will tell you, I'm not going to strictly talk about I'm not going to just talk about Cardi B and Nicki for likes.
No, yeah, we're going to talk about why they pit the Black female artists against each other in the first place, because not every artist that comes out has to, like, you don't see Taylor Swift beefing with I don't know who's another. I'm like, what?
Selena Gomez. I don't know.
Some random person, you know what I mean? Like you never see that, but in the Black hip hop rap community, it's like as soon as another female rapper comes out, oh, we gotta. It's like you gotta face the next level of Mortal Kombat. It doesn't make any sense why we have to pit each other against each other. Like why can't we all just be great? You know?
You never see. I mean, I don't know if Billy Ray Cyrus is still alive anymore. That's Miley Cyrus's father. For those of you who are of later generations. I've never seen the media pit him against, I don't even know who his counterpart, Garth Brooks. Like I've never heard of a Garth Brooks and Billy Ray Cyrus.
Did you hear about the beef with Billy Ray Cyrus and Garth Brooks? No, because it doesn't exist. That's not a thing.
And even if it did exist, like there was some sort of slight, like that's kept to a minimum. It's not top news. But the moment, Black. So these are the things that, we try to highlight while still raising awareness for things. And I think that it's critical information. But I think with us, it's not necessarily a viral moment. It's just being able to maybe market, figure out ways to market ourselves better. And if that means, hey, if somebody is tuning in, I'm putting it out there, and you are a marketer, you love marketing, you have experience marketing, radio, podcast, and these types of things, definitely like slip into the DMs. According to RP, WJMS Media.
We're live on TikTok too, so you can message me on TikTok as well.
I am still building up our TikTok, but Jaymie is the TikTok princess. I'm not even gonna say princess. I'm gonna elevate you, Jaymie. I'm
not that popular yet. I'm TikTok.
I'm manifesting,
popular, but not famous or anything like that. Like I wouldn't even, I'm barely popular. Like
guys, I am talking to an individual who has like 66,000 views on content. You know how many views Rita has on content? I think I had one that maybe cracked 1,000, but that was one.
But that's the thing. See, that's what makes me mad, though. Not makes me mad. I'm very grateful for those views. But the thing is they're not views on lung cancer awareness content. They're not views on WJMS media content. It's views on like Key and Peele skit type stuff. Like I said, I'm glad to have the views and I'm glad that people are liking my content. But I just want people to keep that same energy when I'm talking about the advocacy and stuff that truly affects my life. Like the stuff that like is really important, those kinds of things. I would love to see 66,000 likes or views on my lung cancer awareness posts and things like that. Like that's what I want to see.
And that's the part that is frustrating, again, being in this world, right? This media world, being a Black woman in this media space. It is difficult because, we have a certain demographic that follow us. We have certain things that we discuss that are akin to our people. Not to say that other groups don't have their own specific issues and awarenesses that they raise, but I think that when it comes to like health, when it comes to like almost everything, like Black people are like disenfranchised. And so I feel like our job is even harder. And now as a Black woman wanting to be taken seriously in this field, and we're not 100K followers in, it does get frustrating being in this business where you're like, I'm creating some really dope stuff that can maybe save a life, not even maybe will save a life or somebody else's life, that's impactful. But yet, unless I am doing a voiceover, unless I'm, dancing and pointing, my life-saving, content may never see the light of day for most. So
and I think like for me on TikTok, what I'm doing, I mean, I'm, like I said, I'm building up followers, building up engagement and all that kind of stuff. Right now, my TikTok is great. I'm happy with it. But, I think that what I'm trying to do is, we talked about this earlier. It's like, get those same listeners and followers and merge them over a little bit, like herd them like, hey, look at this. Like, hey, you thought it was funny when I was talking about this. Now let's for a second, just talk about something serious, so my hope is that I can take those same followers and listeners and engagers and stuff like that and really funnel them over to some of the videos and the content that is really important and that I really would like to see spotlighted and stuff like that and see the attention on. So like I said, I'm grateful for the followers and I'm grateful for the engagement because it just means that I'm on the journey and it's happening. You know what I mean? So, but I just, like I said, keep that same energy, folks, for my lung cancer and health awareness stuff. Cause it's, it's my life. Like literally it's my life. So.
Right. Yeah, I think the balance, as we're talking, it's making a little more sense to me where I think it's really about the balance of it all.
Yeah.
Creating, content that is important, to the things that, we find important, like health awareness, things like that. But it's also, I guess, creating some of those, funny, some of those,
Yeah.
real laughable, real memeable moments. And then in a sense, again, hoping that we can funnel, or again, you know, professional people, we love memes. We love these, ratchet things or whatever the case is. So it's like, even though we may be creating some of these, funny, not necessarily awareness posts, the hope there too is that, okay, there's a different demographic, or there's a certain level of people that might, watch your is it Keel?
Key and Peele. So
Post.
Key and Peele is going nuts on Instagram, but Derek and like some of the other stuff is going nuts on TikTok.
Yeah,
It's
so the
super
Derek
fun.
and the voiceovers, but like somebody like me who may not even know that, but come across and I'm like, oh, this is so funny. I might then be the one that scrolls and says, oh, there's also something about lung cancer. That's kind of more of my speed. So what drew me in was like, everybody talking about this voiceover that you were doing.
Yeah.
Then, being invested, and I'm like, oh, this is more my speed, the awareness stuff. I feel like that could also be a way of capturing people who might not necessarily care too much about like the funnies, and they're just into it here and there.
Yeah.
But they're like, this is more my lane. I see that she does serious stuff. I'm gonna stick with her. So
And that's kind of like what I'm trying to do. I do a little bit of a mixture. The other thing is that I always say this, like, I don't want this diagnosis to take over my life and become all that I am. Like, I am more than just a lung cancer diagnosis. I am a whole living, breathing person with a life before and after this diagnosis. And it's not everything that runs my entire existence. And so I try to have a balance between, like, I like to have a lot of fun. I enjoy doing these videos on TikTok. I have a good time doing these voiceovers, and they're quick. I do them fast. You know what I mean? So it's so it's like I like to have a mixture, and so I do try to mix it up and do stuff where I'm doing serious advocacy stuff where I talk about misconceptions and lung cancer and things of that nature, and then I also will bust it out and do a Derek video real quick. So it's one of those things where I try to do a balance, so that if somebody does happen to do exactly what you said, where they come across one of my videos and like, oh, she's funny, I'm gonna look and see what else she's got. It's like a healthy mixture of both. So they're like, oh, here's a funny, here's a serious, here's two serious, and now's a funny. So I'm trying to mix it up. And that's kind of what I mean by like funneling them from, the funny stuff over to the stuff that matters. And that really, really is important to me, because you got to draw the folks in, but you also have to be genuine about what you're saying, and like, you got to be real about the content. And I think what I'm saying is real, and my story is genuine, because it's literally my story, but I need to get people to see it and to view it and to pay attention to it, and not just the funny portion of my life, so that's the problem.
Yeah. And I think that we're getting there. I think that, again, the biggest thing is really the resources, because if we have the resources, we can then bring in marketing people, we can bring in social media people, we can take some of the load off of our backs to allow us to really sit and, strategize on, what's the direction or what's the movement. But I think that, there is this perception that those of us who are in the media are literally like making it rain in these streets. We are big balling in these streets because of the amount of work we put in.
Yeah.
But people don't understand. It's like you have to go above and beyond, in hopes that one of the millions of, content that you push out will be the one to like kind of set you on that path. So.
And we talked about that too the other day, where we were talking about how like it can be disheartening, when you're a content creator, to put something out and it doesn't hit, like it doesn't, nobody's listening, nobody's watching, nobody's engaging, and you're just like, cool. But it's the one thing that I will say about WJMS, and you yourself as well, is that we have been consistent. We have been consistently putting out content for years, so it's not, while it can be disheartening to see like, oh, this post got like 2 views, 2 likes, nobody even watched this, I put all this effort into it. At the end of the day, when people look at your portfolio and your consistency, that's what they're going to see. They're going to say, oh, they've been doing this and they've been putting this stuff out for a long time. And it all, you never know when someone's going to stumble across something old and, make it viral. Like there's so many videos that were, viral or not viral years ago that got posted, nobody paid any attention to, and then somebody stumbled across it, and now it's like an internet sensation.
Right.
So it's the same thing with your content. You know, you never know when an episode, something in the world may happen that relates to the content you posted years ago that never got any views or likes. Then all of a sudden something happens in the world and people are searching for that specific topic, that specific content. Boom, here comes your show. And now it's a big thing, you know? And so while it's disheartening, you just got to know that it's all part of the process, and that, you know, at the end of the day, yes, it can be a little bit hard to see your content get unnoticed, but you never know when what and where and when that one nugget will be that's going to send you, you know, and send your content through the roof. And once you go viral, and once you get there, people start taking in all of your content. You'll start noticing views and likes going up on everything. You're like, how did you even find this from 6 years ago?
Right.
You know, so people will take in all your content once you get to that point. So it's like, keep it up, even if it's not hitting like you want it to.
I think that's excellent advice, because I think that, you know, people can apply that advice obviously outside of this media field, right? I think in any aspect of your entrepreneurial journey, I think in any, you know, industry, you know, especially for us Black women who do deal with a lot, you know, we're dealing with the world, we're dealing with our skin color, how we present ourselves in society. And then, you know, we have the audacity to dream big and say, we're going to also be business owners. So I think that, you know, a lot of it, you know, it can weigh a lot. And I think that, you know, when you're creating, especially when you're a creator, I think, you know, we're sensitive people when it comes to our craft, right? We want people, like, we're doing it because we think it's important. We love what it is that we do, but the idea is that, you know, you're not creating content for you to, you know, pop on the screen and watch on Friday nights for yourself and your family. You're creating it for the world to see. And so when you do get that one like off of a video that you have your blood, sweat, and tears, you know, poured into, when you're thinking you're going to change the world, it can be very disheartening. It could be very like soul crushing. But I think, you know, what our maybe foremothers, as I like to call them, have demonstrated, like the Viola Davises and yes, all of these women that came before us who, you know, their viral moment came, you know, at the age of 50 or 40. Although I told you I had this conversation with God, I do not want to be 50.
Just enjoying the fruits of my labor.
I need to do it while my knees can still bend. You know what I mean?
It's work with thankfulness.
Hello, with gratitude, you know? So I, you know, you know, it comes. It's just, it's not for the faint of heart, like entrepreneurialism, you know, being an entrepreneur, being a small business owner in particular, it's not for the weak. You have to keep going. It's okay to take breaks when there's like, oh, you know what, I'm overwhelmed, or you need to go back to the drawing board. And I know we talked about, you know, how you have the poster boards all over the place. I'm a big poster board person, just going back to the drawing board and saying, you know what's not working, let's pivot, let's revisit. There's a lot of that happens on this journey, but the consistency, I think, is key. A lot of times people, they're like, you know what, forget it. Let me just take 6 months off, a year off, come back to it. And maybe that could be what you need. But I think the consistency of it, you know, continuously putting things out, even if nobody likes it, even if nobody sees it, you know, just keep pushing it out, like you said, because there may be one day that somebody might see it. And so I think not being discouraged, you know, is a big thing here. You know, knowing that one day, or at least having the hope that one day something's gonna hit.
Yeah.
It's critical in any space. It's not just the media. It's just, we talk about the media because we're in the media. And I think that, again, as creators, we may be a little more sensitive about people not liking our art than somebody, you know, else in a different sphere. But
well, it's always surprising to me. Like, I've got a couple of videos with thousands of views on them, and like, it's always surprising to me the ones that just hit. I'm like, this is the one. This is the one. This is your king. Like, really? You know. So It's always a surprise. So it's like you have to continue posting, you have to continue putting up the content, with the best intentions. Like if you
Mhm.
go into it with the mindset everything is going to be viral, you're going to be constantly let down. If you go into it with the mindset of I want to put out the best possible content for people to take in, and in our case, for people to be educated by, and for people to learn something and realize what's going on in the community and what's happening in the world around them.
Mhm.
When you go into it with that mindset, it makes a difference, like, because even if it's something that doesn't go viral, at least that you put wisdom out there, you put knowledge out there, and regardless of the likes, the shares, and all that good stuff, it's out there, and the knowledge is there for people to take in. If it hits and it goes viral, that's great, but don't go into it expecting that it's going to be viral, because that's when you get disappointed. Like, go into it expecting that you want it to, at least reach somebody, and to hit somebody with a little bit of knowledge, and you're always going to be successful.
Right. I think, as you were saying all of that, one of the things that I want to, make sure that we at least touch on is the fact that, comparison is a killer, right?
Oh my
And
God.
I think that as we're talking about, it could take you forever to go viral. I think what is misleading to some is the one kid that posted the one video and they're already a TikTok, YouTube, social, a social media sensation. And so people, they're so used to seeing these overnight celebrities, form, that it ends up making them even more critical of what they do. Like, I've been doing this for 5 years. How does this kid who just goes like this with his hand become an overnight celebrity, an internet sensation? Apparently, he doesn't make videos for free no more. I'm hearing that people are commissioning him for like, thousands of dollars. He's like worth millions of dollars now for just literally, putting his hand out and, making, the gesture or whatever. And
Yeah.
people are like frustrated, and they're just like, I see overnight celebrities happen all the time. Why has none of my stuff hit? Like, how come I am not, where this kid's at? So that
What gets me are the animals that are viral, like the animals, people that give their dogs and cats Instagram pages and stuff like that, and they have more views and followers, and you're like,
yeah.
all right.
The cat, yeah. I follow these cat pages because we're cat.
You're just as bad.
I know. Well, I have, but Chester has not gone viral. But that's probably because I haven't really put in enough effort to
You
make
would.
it viral.
Chester would. He is he's a good cat.
Maybe he would go viral. I don't know. See, that's where that marketing thing sometimes comes in, right? Like, how do I market my Scottish fold?
Your broken Scottish fold with the ears that are correct.
Right, they call my baby defective, and he is not defective, guys. Just, his ears don't curl, and maybe he could be the face of Scottish folds whose ears don't curl.
There you
Maybe
go.
he could be the face.
So, you know what I meant to say too during the conversation, you have to look at like these social media views and likes and follows like playing the lottery. There's always going to be that one person, or even gambling. There's going to be that one person who goes into the casino with $1 and is like, I've never been here before. I don't know what I'm doing. Puts the dollar in a slot machine, hits the jackpot. And you've been sitting at that same slot machine for 15, 16, 30 minutes, an hour, waiting for the jackpot to hit. And this one person comes up and hits immediately. It's the same thing with social media. You could be putting out content for years and years and years and never hit. And this one random person who comes out and does one funny thing goes viral and immediately is a viral sensation. You're just like, hey, it's me, chopped liver. I've been here for years, just waiting for some attention. So, I mean, the bottom line is you don't win if you don't play. So you have to continue playing. You have to continue, doing what you're doing. You have to keep being consistent with it. And eventually you're going to hit. Is it not? Will it be the jackpot? You never know. You might hit for a medium jackpot or a smaller jackpot, but you're going to hit at some point, so at the end of the day, you just have to keep playing.
And I like that, I like that because it's more of a reminder for me that I need to play more because again, I don't, I have TikTok accounts, but I'm not TikToking. And I think that, that's an area that I'm leaving, like an untapped area for me. So like you said, if I don't play, if you don't play, you're not gonna hit. And so, maybe if I play a little more on TikTok.
I mean, the algorithms are way friendlier on TikTok.
Yeah, I might not I might have to, I am going to start being a little more active, especially with According to RP. We had a great brainstorming session when you were here, Jaymie, and so figuring out the segments maybe to go on TikTok and really have that be a thing there. So for those of you who are tuning in, look out. I'm not sure if it'll be under Black Ivy Media because that's the account that I have. I don't want to have a million TikTok accounts either for every brand.
Yeah.
It might just be under Black Ivy Media. Or it might be under I Am Rita Pierre. I'm not sure, but definitely look out for content coming on the TikTok platform.
Can't wait. I'm telling you, it's a slippery slope of destruction. Once you get in this TikTok community, it's like, oh, hey, addiction, how you doing? Yeah, right. You get in there, you're like, I gotta make a TikTok today. Like, I had to get in there and make a TikTok. Yeah. I'm gonna make a TikTok or two today, eventually, some point during or after, probably after work, of course. But yes, at some point today, there's gonna be something coming from me.
Jaymie is a TikTok queen in my book. But but either way, Jaymie, I just want to thank you for just taking the time to talk to us, to engage with me on this topic, to vent, with me on this topic of, being a Black woman in small business, but particularly in this media industry. I think it's important for people to understand that there are real struggles, that just because it looks like things are going well on social media, that is not a reflection a lot of times of what's really happening behind the scenes.
Yep.
But I think that, as people are thinking about creating their own brands, that they go in with a sense of reality, that they're not just creating a brand because they think they're going to go viral and then they're going to just be rich off of media. That's not really how it works. So I think sharing our insights, and I think even having this conversation out loud is like a brainstorming session in and of itself, because now it's like, all right, I'm going to go back and do this. We talked about this. All right. You know what, so, but thank you for just taking the time to share.
Anytime you want me on the platform, my girl.
Of course. And, next month is November. It is Lung Cancer Awareness Month. And so we're going to definitely have Madam CEO here to talk to us about some new things that she's been working on. She's been a busy bee in the lung cancer awareness realm. So I cannot wait to have her come and talk about the work that she's doing, some of the things that she's done in these last few weeks, some experiences that you've been able to, partake in. So, I'm giving you guys a teaser so that you guys can make sure you stay tuned to our platform for next month. So I thank you in advance.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, as Chester makes his way, my cat makes his way to the stage.
Oh, he's coming on? Let's see him.
He's been scrolling. He's been like, circling to see when can I pop in. He's
like, whenever you want to put me on air, Mom, I'm here.
He's starting to put, but we don't have time. We don't have time to wait for you to get ready. So either way, guys, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of According to RP on WJMS Media, powered by Black Ivy Media. It's your girl, Rita Pierre, your host, and I will talk to you guys next week. Oh, wait, Chester's coming.
He's like, I'm coming on this show. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, he's too slow. He's not going to make it. We got to get off. We got work to do. All right, guys, have a great week.
All right.